Say I told you so, or are you willing to say, Stephen A., you did tell us? Really? Caitlyn Clark is the golden goose.
When Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever were eliminated from the 2024 WNBA playoffs, the league's viewership and attendance plummeted. The Aces Liberty semifinal matchup on Sunday drew an average of 12 million viewers, a staggering 50% drop from the Fever-Sun game the previous week. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about what Caitlyn Clark's absence reveals about the WNBA's reliance on a single player, its struggles to retain fans, and the deeper issues threatening its future. So, let's break it down, explore the fallout, and ask, what happens when a league lets its brightest star slip through its fingers? The Caitlyn Clark phenomenon, a star. Like no other, to understand the magnitude of this moment, we need to rewind and appreciate what Caitlyn Clark brought to the WNBA in her rookie season.
Let's just say the ratings aren't the same with Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever now eliminated. Game 1 of the Aces Liberty matchup on Sunday drew an average of 920.
Clark didn't just arrive as a talented player. She was a cultural force, a lightning rod who drew eyes to a league that had long struggled to capture mainstream attention. Her games were must-watch events, blending sharpshooting prowess, playmaking flair, and a fearless competitive spirit that resonated with fans old and new. From her record-breaking college career at Iowa to her transition to the pros, Clark carried a spotlight that illuminated not just her own team, the Indiana Fever, but the entire WNBA. In 2024, Clark's impact was undeniable. Her games consistently shattered viewership records, with some Fever matchups drawing upwards of 17 million viewers, numbers that dwarfed the 3 to 4 million viewers for games without her. Attendance told a similar story. Arenas hosting Clark's Fever packed in 17,000 to 18,000 fans, while other games scraped by with 8,000 to 10,000. These weren't just stats. They were a testament to Clark's ability to transcend the sport.
9,000 viewers was down nearly 50% from last Sunday's Fever-Sun contest. By the way, not only was viewership down, but attendance was as...
She wasn't just a player. She was a phenomenon, drawing casual fans, NBA enthusiasts, and even skeptics who hadn't watched a WNBA game in years. But Clark's influence went beyond the court. She sparked conversations about women's sports, inspired young athletes, and brought a surge of sponsorships and media coverage to the WNBA. Her arrival coincided with a 400% spike in league viewership from 2022 to 2024, a growth rate that dwarfed the 40% increase from 2022 to 2023. To put that in perspective, without Clark, the WNBA would have needed until 2028 to achieve the viewership it reached in 2024. She wasn't just lifting her own boat, she was raising the tide for the entire league. The playoff fallout, a league without its star. So, what happens when the WNBA's brightest star is knocked out of the playoffs? The answer is stark. The league's momentum stalls. When the Indiana Fever fell to the Connecticut Sun in the first round, the immediate drop in viewership was jarring. The Aces Liberty semifinal, a matchup featuring some of the league's top talent, couldn't hold a candle to the Fever's games. Viewership fell by nearly half, and attendance followed suit, with arenas that had been buzzing for Clark's appearances suddenly feeling half empty.
Overseas, who would love to snatch Caitlyn Clark away from us and give her a crazy offer. I mean, Ice Cube was about to give her $5 million to play in less than 10 games. And
this wasn't just a one-game blip. The WNBA's semifinal ratings continued to slide, exposing a troubling reality. Without Caitlyn Clark, the league struggled to keep fans engaged. Players like Aja Wilson, the 2024 MVP, and Breanna Stewart were undeniably elite, but they lacked the magnetic pull that Clark brought. Wilson herself voiced frustration, noting that fans had called her games boring, despite her historic 1,000-point season. "I've never seen my game called boring more than this year," Wilson said in a post-game press conference. "It's like, okay, cool, whatever." Her exasperation was palpable, but it underscored a deeper issue. The WNBA's audience wasn't as invested in the league's broader narrative as it was in Clark's individual story. The players felt the sting of this shift.
Unanimous.
Should have been. I agree.
Unanimous. It should have been unanimous. And one of the things that sticks with me is, well, she was the first rookie to get a triple-double.
Some, like Wilson, pushed back against the narrative that fans only cared about Clark. Others, speaking anonymously, expressed disappointment that fans weren't sticking around for the playoffs. "It's disheartening," one veteran player told a sports outlet. We're out here competing at the highest level, but it feels like the fans are only here for one person. The sentiment was clear. The WNBA's players believed they were being overshadowed by Clark's star power, and her exit left them grappling with a fan base that seemed to vanish overnight. The Caitlyn Clark effect, a double-edged sword. The WNBA's dependence on Clark is what we're calling the Caitlyn Clark effect, a phenomenon where one player's presence drives unprecedented attention, but her absence exposes the league's vulnerabilities. It's not unlike the Jordan effect that transformed the NBA in the 1980s and 1990s, or the Steph Curry effect that redefined basketball in the 2010s. Clark's ability to draw viewers was a boon for the WNBA, but it also revealed how fragile the league's audience base had become. Before Clark, the WNBA was already grappling with challenges. Low ratings.
Wilson, 28 years old, 1,000 points in the regular season. Why is that not the biggest story out at the moment?
Exactly.
Why are we talking about Caitlyn Clark?
Why when Asia was releasing the shoe were we talking about Caitlyn?
This dynamic raises a critical question. How did the WNBA become so reliant on one player? Part of the answer lies in Clark's unique appeal. Her style of play, long-range shooting, pinpoint passing, and a knack for clutch moments, made her a highlight machine. She was the kind of player who could turn a routine game into a viral moment, whether it was a 40-foot three-pointer or a no-look pass. But her appeal went beyond basketball. Clark's story, a small-town kid from Iowa who became a global sensation, resonated with fans who saw her as both relatable and extraordinary. She was a marketer's dream, a player who could sell tickets, jerseys, and the WNBA brand itself. Yet, the WNBA's reliance on Clark also points to broader structural issues. For years, the league has struggled to build a diverse stable of marketable stars. Players like Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, and Breanna Stewart are undeniably talented, but they haven't captured the public's imagination in the same way Clark has.
23 season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlyn Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400% viewership.
This isn't a knock on their skills. It's a reflection of the WNBA's marketing challenges and the difficulty of breaking through in a crowded sports landscape. Clark's arrival filled that gap, but it also exposed how much work the league still has to do to cultivate a broader fan base. The controversy, fouls, officiating, and a star under siege, one of the most troubling aspects of Clark's playoff exit was how it happened. Throughout her rookie season, Clark faced relentless physical play that often went unpunished. Opposing teams targeted her with aggressive defense, blitzing her on screens and fouling her off the ball. The Connecticut Sun series was a prime example. Clark was knocked around repeatedly, yet referees seemed hesitant to blow the whistle. Fans watching at home were livid, flooding social media with complaints about the officiating. "How is this allowed?" one ex-post read. "Caitlyn Clark is getting mauled and the refs are just watching. This wasn't an isolated incident." Clark was the most blitzed player in the WNBA during the 2024 season, facing double teams and physical defense on nearly every possession.
What that means is, if the WNBA were continuing to grow at the rate it grew from 22 to 23, it would take until 2028 to do what Caitlyn Clark did this year.
Despite this, she averaged 19 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds per game, an extraordinary stat line for a rookie. But the toll was evident. By the end of the season, Clark looked battered, her body absorbing the kind of punishment that no player, let alone a star, should endure. The WNBA's failure to protect Clark wasn't just a matter of missed calls, it was a systemic issue. For years, the league has grappled with inconsistent officiating, particularly when it comes to physical play. But when the player at the center of your league's resurgence is being subjected to this kind of treatment, it becomes a crisis. Fans saw Clark as the WNBA's golden goose, the player who could elevate the league to new heights. Yet the league seemed unwilling or unable to shield her from the physicality that threatened to derail her season.
Reese had that injury to me, and also coming off of Olympic break, Caitlyn Clark separated herself. She should have been unanimous. Now to celebrate her, one thing that...
This failure sparked a broader conversation about how the WNBA treats its stars. Some fans and analysts argued that Clark was being unfairly targeted, with her race and media attention fueling resentment from opponents, and even some within the league. There's a small group out there who resent that this young white girl came in and stole the show, one commentator on our YouTube channel noted. She's Rookie of the Year, 4th in MVP voting, and the assist leader, yet she's getting hammered every game. Whether or not race played a role, the perception of bias against Clark was enough to fuel outrage among her supporters. The Rookie of the Year, Snub. A slap in the face. If Clark's playoff exit wasn't frustrating enough, another controversy soon followed. She was denied unanimous Rookie of the Year honors. Despite her record-breaking season and transformative impact, one voter chose Angel Reese over Clark, preventing a unanimous vote. The decision sent shockwaves through the basketball world, with fans and analysts crying foul. "This is absurd," one ex-user posted. Caitlyn Clark carried the WNBA on her back, and someone had the audacity to vote for someone else? To be clear, Angel Reese had a strong rookie season, averaging a double-double and earning praise for her rebounding and tenacity.
People forget is as a rookie, she was the most blitzed player in the WNBA, and she still put up 19, 5, and 8 assists.
But Clark's impact was on another level. She led the league in assists, set rookie records for three-pointers, and became the first WNBA rookie to record multiple triple-doubles. Her influence extended off the court, driving viewership and attendance to unprecedented heights. The idea that anyone could vote against her seemed unthinkable. The WNBA's decision to keep the lone voter's identity anonymous only fueled the fire. Fans demanded transparency, arguing that the voter should have to justify their choice. "If you're going to make a bold statement like that, stand by it," one commenter on our YouTube channel said. "Don't hide behind anonymity." The lack of accountability left a sour taste, reinforcing the perception that
Jordan effect on the NBA and the game of basketball. I would argue at one point early on there was a Steph Curry effect on the NBA and on basketball also. Bet your ass.